Alright, so today we're going to be making some elephant's toothpaste. Before you will see the materials you'll need. You'll need 3% hydrogen peroxide, some active yeast, some dish soap of your choice, and a bottle with something underneath to catch the toothpaste we're going to be making. The larger the cylindrical bottle, the more fun it is. And the smaller the tip, the more fun it is as well. So, to start, we're going to take a half cup of our hydrogen peroxide. It doesn't have to be precise, but it needs to be at least a half a cup. And then we're going to pour it into the bottle of choice. I am using an old ketchup bottle. Next, you're going to want to take your dish soap. You're just going to take your dish soap and a little right in there. If you have food coloring, you could add some food coloring too to give it a fun color. Just get all the dish soap from the side and mix it up a little bit. Now there's a chemical reaction actually happening right now. The hydrogen peroxide's turning into water, but you can't really see it happening. So what we're going to do is we're going to introduce something called a catalyst. What a catalyst does is it lowers the energy required for a reaction to happen. So a good demonstration of this is if your parent holds their hand up as high as they can and you try and give them a high five. You probably can't reach. But if your parents hold their hand down lower, you can easily give them a high five. The high five is the start of the reaction. And sometimes the height, the energy required is really high. But if it can get lowered with a catalyst. So, our catalyst is going to be some active yeast. So, you just need a tablespoon of yeast. And then 3 tablespoons of water. I'm going to go quickly get that from the sink. You're going to mix it up. Next, this is the most important part. You're going to pour the yeast into your bottle that holds your hydrogen peroxide and soap, and you're going to see what happens. You might want to stand back after you pour it in and make sure you have something underneath to catch and see what is happening. So as you can see, the bubbles start rising, and suddenly, sploosh! Now, it kind of looks like toothpaste. Please do not use it to brush your teeth. Cleanup's really simple. Everything can just be dumped down the sink. And that is how you make elephant's toothpaste. Thank you for joining Spice.
Alright, hi everyone. We're going to be doing another experiment with baking soda and vinegar called a baking soda balloon. So for this experiment, we're going to need some baking soda, some vinegar, a container, a balloon, and a piece of paper and a writing utensil for any observations. And if you don't have any balloons, that's okay, you can just follow along with the video, or if you want to try using a Ziploc bag, that might work as well. Okay, so in this experiment, we're going to be looking at how a gas can cause a balloon to expand. So you know what happens when you blow up a balloon? It'll get a lot bigger than it started, right? So that same sort of thing is going to happen when we mix baking soda and vinegar. It will create a gas that causes the balloon to expand. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is fill up our container with some vinegar. So you can fill it up about halfway. That should be enough. And then we're going to take a fourth or a half teaspoon of baking soda and put it inside your balloon. So this might be a little bit challenging. So if you need a parent or an older sibling to help, that would be great. But you can put a couple spoonfuls into your balloon. Probably a half teaspoon should be just fine. Okay, so once you have your baking soda inside your balloon, you're going to want to attach the balloon to the container, but make sure not to dump in your baking soda yet. So keep your baking soda in your balloon still. And at this point, write down any guesses you have as to what might happen if we put the baking soda into the vinegar. All right, so hopefully you paused the video and you were able to write down a hypothesis about what might happen. And so now we're going to try pouring in the baking soda into the vinegar, and let's see what happens. So make sure you hold on to your balloon really tight. So you're going to see that there was a lot of bubbles that were created. So write down anything that you saw happen. All right, so now we're going to do the experiment again, but this time we're going to use twice as much baking soda than we did the last time. And we're going to see what happens. So fill up your balloon again. You can use the same balloon or you can use a different balloon. I'm going to be using a different one, pink. All right, so once you've filled up your balloon with twice the amount of baking soda, we're going to do the same thing. So attach to your vinegar and then pause to write down any hypothesis you might have about what would happen if we double the amount of baking soda. All right, and then once you're ready, make sure you're holding onto your balloon nice and tight and pour in your baking soda. All right, so write down any observations you see. All right, so now we have our two balloons and we can compare the sizes. So this is the balloon from the first experiment with the baking soda, and this is the balloon with twice the amount of baking soda. So you can see that it filled up with much more gas than the first experiment. And so the reason that happens is when you have more baking soda, there's more of it to react with the vinegar. So there's more sodium bicarbonate, which is an ingredient in baking soda, to react with the acetic acid in vinegar. And that creates even more carbon dioxide, which is the gas that's created. And so when you mix these, the solid and the liquid here, it'll create a gas, and the gas is going to expand to fill the space. So that's why the balloon grows. All right, I hope you guys enjoyed doing these balloon experiments with me, and see you next time.
Hi everybody, my name's Kari and I'm part of the Club Spice at UW-Madison where we like to teach people about chemistry, and today I'm going to be teaching you this experiment called Ice Cream Scientist. I know a lot of you guys probably like to pick up some ice cream at the store because it's really delicious. That's probably my favorite dessert, but I'm going to teach you today how you can actually make it yourself at home. So first I'm going to show you the materials that you'll need. You'll need a gallon bag, a big plastic bag full of 2 cups about, or as much ice as you can find in your fridge, and then 6 tablespoons of salt, so just like table salt like you guys probably have at home. And then you'll need a smaller bag like this one, and this has a half a cup of milk and a half a teaspoon of vanilla and then 1 tablespoon of sugar. So right now it just looks like some milk. You guys probably have also drunk that. So these are the ingredients that you can find at home to make ice cream. And then you'll put this small bag into this bigger bag and seal it up. There we go. And then you're going to shake it around like that. And it's going to take about 5 to 10 minutes to do that. So you guys are really going to get an arm workout today. I'm going to make another video showing you what this is going to look like at the end, because I don't think you're going to want to watch 10 minutes of me shaking this bag of ice, but I'm sure you guys will have a fun time. Hi again, everybody. I finished shaking my bag. One thing that I forgot to mention in the last video is that you might want to wear mittens or gloves, or just like hold a towel while you're shaking your bag, because it gets pretty cold. Yeah, right now the outside is pretty cold and it can also get pretty wet. But now I'm going to show you guys how my ice cream turned out and try it. Whoop. So it's really wet right now. As you can see, it's dripping because all the ice is melting. You can look in the bag and see that now there's a lot more water than there is ice after we've been shaking it for a while. But I'm going to try a bite of the ice cream. And then another tip that I have is, if you want the texture to be more like the ice cream you buy at a store, it'll be kind of not quite that hard right now. So you can just leave it in the fridge for a few hours and then it'll get a lot more frozen like you would just buy normal ice cream. But this is what it looks like. It does look pretty similar to ice cream, and now I'm going to try it. It tastes really good. I hope that you guys also have as much fun as I did doing this experiment. Hi everybody, I'm back and I'm going to explain a little bit about the background behind this experiment. So when I was first explaining the steps, you might have wondered why we needed to add salt to the bag, because water is already frozen, so it seems like it should be good enough to freeze our ice cream mixture. But with our ice cream mixture, when you add things like protein and milk and vanilla to water, that lowers the freezing point. So normally the freezing point of water is at 32 degrees Fahrenheit, but it's not going to be able to freeze anymore at that temperature. It's going to freeze at a lower temperature once you add things to it. So just having ice on the outside wasn't enough to freeze it anymore because of that. But when we added salt to the mixture, that lowered the freezing point of the ice that we had on the outside. So that was able to get to a low enough temperature that it could freeze the mix in the inside bag. Pretty cool, right? I hope that you guys really enjoyed this experiment and that you learned a little bit about how making ice cream works today. Have a good day.